Okay, welcome to Crocheting the Beginning. My name is Heather. I am glad that you are joining me with this, and the reason why I'm doing this Crochet the Beginning is I have several friends who would like to learn how to crochet. But I work part-time nights, which means that when they work daytime and they have the days off, I can't have a group or class to do it. I have tried to tell them to find somebody who can meet with them, but they don't want to do it that way. So we're going to try this. Yes, I'm a fast talker. I apologize. So this is Crochet the Beginning. I want to preface this that I am not an expert crocheter. I am not anything. I have just done this for a lot of my life. My mother was a big crafter. She passed that down to me. So I am going to sit here and we're going to go step by step, starting at the very, 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 very basic. If you don't understand something that I discussed, please leave a comment and tell me. I will happily devote an entire video to going back over that or go over it again. This craft is a fun and interesting craft. It can be extremely frustrating at times, especially if you don't know what you're doing. But hang in there, bear with us. You will be able to do this, I promise. I have been doing this since I was a child. If I can do it, you can do it. Of that, I can promise. So, in order to crochet, the only thing you need to have is 3 simple items. That's it. You need, first up, yarn. That's it. Just yarn. This is simple Red Heart Super Saver acrylic yarn. And I don't care what anybody says, when you're first starting out, don't go buying the expensive yarn. You need a durable yarn that is going to take you working it up into something, finding a mistake, and then ripping it all back. You want something that can be durable and strong. To me, nothing is better to start out with than is just simple acrylic yarn. Nothing fancy. This is Red Heart Super Saver light blue, I believe. I got from Walmart. I think it's about $4 or $5. I don't remember for sure. The only reason this is not in its normal packaging is because I was using it for a different project and I just wound it up in a ball because I prefer crocheting from a ball. I don't prefer crocheting from any other type. This is the easiest for me. So that's episode thing 1 that you need. Number 2, you need scissors. I have ones that have a cover because I just toss them in my bag. Saves me from having to worry if I accidentally cut something. Just simple scissors. These are actually from the back to school boxes at Walmart. That's it. I think they were $2 to $5. I'm not for sure. Anytime there's a back to school thing, and I just grab me a couple of them. I think I have 2 in my bag that I have sitting by me here. I think I have 2 or 3 or 4 of them sitting upstairs by my where I crochet on the couch and knit on the couch. And I think I have a couple down here in my pin jar. I have little scissors like this all over the place. You don't have to sit here and spend a fortune on specialty scissors. I will say this, get you a new pair. Don't cut paper with these, okay? That is true. You cut paper with scissors, it dulls the blades. Keep your scissors for your craft work, okay? My partner knows not to touch my crafting scissors. He knows I have special scissors everywhere that he can use for anything and everything, but he doesn't touch the ones that I use for my crafting. Those are 2 things. The third thing you need are hooks. I use a special hook called Furls, Furls, And these are expensive. I don't recommend these for your first time, especially not until you know you like it. I have to use ones like these because they are the easiest on my hands. If you notice, they have a taper down to the bottom. That is easier on my hands. I have fibromyalgia, so I hurt and I still want to do my crafts. But if I overdo it too much by using just a normal crochet hook, and even these will hurt after a certain amount of time, my hands hurt. I don't want that to happen because I want to continue doing what I like. So I get these furl ones. They're about 30 bucks a hook. They're not cheap. 30 bucks a hook, but they don't hurt my hands. This one is a size I, which is a 5.5 millimeter, and is acrylic. Crochet hooks come in 3 different styles. You have wood, which I absolutely don't own any because I can't stand the feel of it. I don't mind wood and knitting needles, but when I am pulling and pushing the yarn through the hook with the hook, I don't like the feeling of it with a wood crochet hook. So I use acrylic or plastic. This is another acrylic or plastic one. This is a size H, which is a 5.0 millimeter. But my absolute favorite, my furls like to roll. My absolute favorite style of hook is a metal hook. I adore metals. They are smooth. I don't have hardly any resistance to me pushing and pulling. Some people will call these slippery because the yarn just slides right on them. Whereas if you have acrylic or plastic, you have a little bit of resistance from the plastic. Okay. Now, if you use acrylic yarn and acrylic hooks, you will get what is called squeaking sometimes. What that is basically it's just the two forms of plastic rubbing on each other. You will also feel it squeaking a little bit. You'll feel a little vibration through your hook and your yarn. If it doesn't bother you, don't worry about it. Use which ones you want. The most of the time, the hooks you are going to be able to find a lot are going to be your metal hooks. And your metal hooks, when you rub the yarn on them, they're not going to squeak. You're not going to feel a vibration that much other than the feel of a pull and tug. That's it. So these are the 3 things, and you only need 1 hook. I prefer my metals, so I will be using the silver one, which is a size L, which is a 7.0 millimeter. I realize you cannot see this because of the lights and all that, and I do apologize. But this is the basics of a hook. Most hooks you got will not have this uh, expansion of material right here. They'll all just be one width down, or they may have a little plastic rubberized coating on it. That's it. For the next one, I will see if I can get some normal crochet hooks because, like I said, these are the only ones I usually use, so I don't have any of the other kind. I purged my crochet hooks a few years ago and I've not replaced them. This is all you need in order to crochet. Like I said, my furls like to move. This is it. Just this. Yarn, scissors, and a hook. That's it. All in total would probably cost you about 20 bucks and you would have everything you need in order to do this. That's it. Now, there are things that can help. And push those aside. Everybody's going to say so. Now, to add to that will help in your crochet journey is going to be these little boogers. These are called locking stitch markers. These are plastic. They act like a safety pin without the sharp point. Okay. Now, honestly, you can use safety pins. I've done it a million times. Not a big deal. You can use twist ties, that you get on bread or those little bread clips. You can use those. All these do is go in a crochet stitch or around a crochet stitch and mark something so you know if you're crocheting in a circle. This tells you where your beginning stitch was. That's all. You don't have to have these right away, okay? These you do not have to have, and you don't have to have as many as I do. You could start out with 2 of them, no biggie. So those help. I even use these in my knitting. You can find these in my house. You'll find them by the couch, by the dining room table, downstairs in my craft room and lounge room. I do my laundry downstairs. I have a room that I just have made comfortable just for me to sit downstairs and do laundry so I don't have to go up and downstairs. You'll find them all over my floor. You'll find them in my car. If I knit while I'm at work when I have downtime and I have every single part of my job done and I'm waiting for more stuff to come in, you'll find them on the floor 9 times out of 10 because I'm using them. This nifty little container came from my local yarn store, or LYS, called Mad Knitter here in Springfield, Missouri. Store is amazing. Uh, I got those, and for this many, it was $5. Not biggie. I honestly, for crocheting projects, I don't think I've ever had to use more than 10 on any crochet project that I've done. That's me. The other thing that I recommend you have is a bowl. Nothing fancy. You can use a cereal bowl, you can use a mixing bowl, you can use a pot and pan or a teapot. I even have a old dog food bowl that I no longer need for my dogs because I put automatic feeders for my dogs. I have used that. Just a bowl. This is honestly a flea market find. It was 99 cents. That's it. It can be plastic, it can be glass, it can be metal, it doesn't matter. You don't even need this. It makes it easier. All I do with this is I take my yarn, drop it in the bowl. That's it. Now, as you're crocheting and you're pulling things off, I do this with my normal style of yarn, everything. It doesn't matter to me. Most of the time, the yarn you get will come in skeins that look like this. This is for a blanket I'm knitting right now for one of my friends. Um, they'll come like this, okay? And most of them are a center pull, which you just find the center and you pull or you wrap around the skein. I don't like knitting or crocheting with that, so I turn them into balls. Makes it easier. Now, since I have that, you can use a bag. You can use a project bag. You can use anything. As long as the yarn can move freely, it works. Now, as I go and use this, it's just going to keep coming off the ball. Nothing big, nothing fancy. Like I said, as long as the yarn can move, go with it. Okay? So put that to the side. The first thing you need to learn when it comes to crocheting is how to make a slip knot. That's it. So to make a slip knot, all I do is I take, this is my end of my yarn. This is the working yarn. The working yarn is always the side that comes off of the ball. Okay? Take your working end of your yarn, take your working yarn, hold the end of your yarn between your thumb and your first 2 fingers. Wrap your working yarn around the back of your fingers and to the front, crossing in front of the end of the yarn. Now, don't do it tightly. You want a loose wrap, okay? If it helps, whiten your fingers. You want a loose wrap. Now, you're holding this yarn with your thumb and your finger and pull your other 2 fingers out while holding on to that little X, okay? Now, all you have to do then is take your working yarn behind the loop that you've just made and pull it through and pull taut, and you have a slip knot with a big loop at the end. And that's it. To show you one more time, Take your end of your yarn, hold it with your thumb and your fingers, wrap your working yarn around your two fingers to where it goes over in front of the end of the yarn. So you have a little X right there. Okay. Hold that between those two, pull your two fingers out, and then take your working yarn around behind the loop and pull the working yarn through the loop and pull close. That is a slip knot. If you pull the end of your yarn, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to go anywhere. Okay. Now what I do is I hold this little knot area, the little bump with my thumb and my first finger, and then I take my hook and I put it up into the loop like that. Now I take my fingers here, hold the end of the yarn, and pull on the working yarn. And see, it comes up and it makes a slip knot around your hook. You should have just a little bit of space in between. I don't know if you can see it, but there should be a little bitty space in between the hook and the little knot. Okay. You want this loop to be able to go up and down on your crochet hook easily. Now, that's step one of crochet. You did it. Told you. I knew you could do it. No problem. Now, there are different ways to hold your hook, okay, as you work. Some people find that holding it in a pencil like system works, and you pull and push this way. This doesn't work for me. It hurts. I can't do this for long like this. It is not comfortable to me. For me, it feels unnatural. But this way may work for you. This is how you want to do it. This is your crochet, not mine, yours. I can only teach you how I do it. The way that I hold mine is a knife hold. So I have my hook and I set it right about there, and then I close my hands around it. You do not need a death grip, okay? You are not waging war with your crochet hook. Just a nice gentle grip. All you have to do is to be able to move your hook with your hand, wrist, arm, whichever for right now. As you do it, your body will tell you, okay, I don't like this. Let's try something different. Do not do this to the point of pain. This is not the point. I do mine like this. I use mine like this and close my hand just as a tight little hold. Okay. Now this hand gets to have some fun with this too. So the way I wrap my yarn to control the tension on how tight I want my stitches or how loose I want my stitches, I take my working yarn. Okay. I wrap it over my pinky, under my two middle fingers, and over my pointer. Now, when I go to make this is how I control the tension of my yarn. The tighter my pinky holds, the more resistance, sorry, the more resistance I have, which means I'm going to wind up making a tighter stitch. Okay. The end of my yarn is here, and I will usually have it stuck up in between these two pads right here. So that way it doesn't just come whenever a slight little tug like that. I have it to where it is a little tighter. I keep my pinky pointed up. This is how I do it. And then since it's over the top of the pointer, I also use my pointer to help guide my yarn by loosening it or tightening it. Now, to make a stitch, I also hold the end of my yarn with these three fingers, but mainly these two. This one just wants to have something to do. That's it. It just wants to feel part of this situation with me. Instead of holding like this, it just wants to be part of the situation. It's like, well, if the pinky gets to sit up, I do too. So I usually hold it like this. Now, to make a stitch, make sure that the hook part of your yarn is facing you. This side is always going to be in front, okay, or facing. This side is always going to be to the back or away, okay? I just want to go over this again. This side, from the hook this way, from the hook this way is always going to be facing or front. From the hook this way is always going to be to the back or behind. Okay? So make sure the hook lip point is facing you. You have your hook, you holding your little end of the yarn with your thumb and your middle finger. Now, take the yarn around behind the hook to the front, okay? You can either do it with your hand that's holding the hook, or you can do it with your other hand, with your hand that's holding the yarn. It is your choice. I do a combo normally, and I move both hands in. So around behind the hook to the front of the hook, and then pull the hook down. As you go down, you'll see that that yarn gets hooked into the crochet hook, and pull it through the loop that was on the hook. And you have just made your first crochet stitch. That's it. That is the ultimate basic of crochet. If you can put the yarn behind the hook to the front and pull down and through the loop, you know how to crochet. Okay? So all I want you to do is just keep repeating this. Yarn around behind the hook to the front and pull through. Okay? The yarn around the hook to the front, grab it by that hook and pull through. You'll need to keep some tension on this in order to keep that yarn in that hook. Okay? But you don't want a death grip to where you can't move it. But you don't want it willy-nilly that, there's no tension whatsoever. So just keep doing that. You can, like I said, you can twist this hook around and grab the yarn like that and pull it down. But I find for beginners, the easiest thing to do, and as you crochet more stitches, you will need to move these fingers up. These fingers should always be fairly close to this join right here where your last stitch was. Yarn behind, then just yarn behind the hook, around to the front, and pull down. Yarn behind the hook, grab the hook, and pull down. Yarn behind the hook, around to the front of the hook, hook on and pull down. Yarn behind the hook, around to the front, and pull down. And see, looky here, you have made stitches. That's it. You know how to crochet. This is the base bones, the bare bones of how you crochet. Grab the yarn, pull through. Grab the yarn, pull through. Grab the yarn, pull through. You can do this so much that you will get to be where it is muscle memory, and all you're doing is sitting here, and the only thing that slows you down is the fact you have to move your fingers. And that's it. And you keep doing that over and over and over again. And you will eventually come up with a chain that looks like this. And you see, you have little V's. There's one leg of the V, there's the other leg of the V. And that's it. You have now crocheted an entire chain of crochet. Unless you're making something like a toy or something that requires you to start with a circle, which is a lesson for down the road, you have the basics. So all I would like for you to do is to make chains. Go through and just chain until you're so sick of them, you don't want to do them anymore. Because you are developing that muscle memory right now. And here's the fun part. If you don't like how your chain is looking, see, I don't like that little stitch right there. It's a little loose. So all I'm going to do is pull my hook out of that loop, set my hook down. See, and it's not going anywhere. It won't go anywhere until you pull this. But you pull that, boom, you lost one stitch. No biggie. Poo, 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 poo. This is the stitch I don't like. Okay, so I'm going to take it out to there. Pull my loop up just a little bit. Take my crochet hook. put it back in that hole, tighten it back up, yarn around behind, pull it through, yarn behind, pull it through, yarn behind, pull it through. Stitch looks better. So that is basically your bare bones lesson one, is you're going to make beautiful chains that look like this. And that's it. So come back and join me next time when I will show you how to take a chain. And I would like for you to have a chain of 20. And to count those, you count these little lines right here. This is 1V, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I would like for you, by the time I load up the next lesson, have a chain of 20 waiting to go. Okay? This is it. That's your first lesson in how to crochet. We have covered what you need to have in order to crochet, which we find out is only 3 things, including yarn, a hook, and a pair of scissors. If you want to add on to that, you will add stitch markers and a bowl if you want. You don't have to. Your choice. These are all you need. I covered how to make a slip knot and how to make a chain. I also went over how you hold your hook and how you hold the yarn. If the two methods that I showed you on holding your hook don't work for you, let me know. I'll see what I can find on other ways to hold it. If the way I hold my yarn doesn't work for you, let me know. I'll see if I can look up and find other ways for you to hold your yarn that I can give you an option on how to do. Okay? I hope you have enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time when you come back and join the beginning of how to do crochet. Thank you, and have a wonderful crochet adventure.